Welcome to a chapter a day. Your life is not limited by opportunity. It's limited by the beliefs you stopped questioning. Every habit, every decision, every outcome you see in your life today started with a thought you never examined. The world hasn't been holding you back. You have been holding yourself back. And the strange part, you didn't even know it was happening. By the time this audiobook ends, you won't just understand the patterns controlling your life. You'll see them clearly. You'll recognize the invisible rules that shape your choices, and you'll know exactly how to rewrite them. You'll learn how to remove the blocks that silently dictate your reality, manifest the life you want, and operate from a mindset that feels unstoppable. So listen carefully. Pay attention. This isn't just information. It's a mental reset. A shift in identity. By the end, you'll not only know the truth about how your mind works, you'll be ready to act on it immediately. Chapter 1. The Pedestal Effect. You've seen it before, maybe even today. People look at someone else's life and see the highlight reel, a promotion, a big opportunity, a public success, and they feel two things at once: awe and a sense of inadequacy. I'll never reach that, you think. I could never achieve that. But here's the part most people miss. What you're seeing is only the outcome, the mountain peak, the trophy, the end result. Rarely, if ever, do you see the countless small choices that created it. Consider this. The person who has a successful career didn't suddenly wake up one day with every answer. They sent emails nobody noticed. They stayed late when no one was watching. They took risks others dismissed. They invested in themselves, quietly, repeatedly, in ways invisible to the outside world. And here's something important. The same pattern is happening in your life. Every single day. You make choices that are either moving you forward or holding you back. You know the ones I mean, the decisions you postpone, the conversations you avoid, the tasks you put off until tomorrow. And tomorrow arrives, and it feels heavier than it did yesterday. Recognition moment. You've been there. You know this weight. You felt the pull of waiting for something external to change your life instead of realizing your power is in the small, invisible choices you make every day. Why does this happen? Why do we elevate outcomes and ignore the invisible process behind them? Your brain has a bias I call the pedestal effect. It's a protective mechanism. The mind prefers to admire the peak rather than climb it, elevating success to something distant, something seemingly impossible, allows your current self to avoid responsibility. It says, I don't have to change. That life is for someone else. Think about it for a moment. How often have you avoided a small action because it felt insignificant? Sending that email, making that call, finishing that task. Your brain whispers, it won't matter. It's too small. And yet, those microactions are exactly what compound into extraordinary results. The pedestal works because it keeps you comfortable in your current identity. By focusing on the outcome, your mind avoids the discomfort of incremental change. The brain is a master at protecting identity, and the easiest way to do that is to convince you that the visible result is unattainable without some grand leap. And here's the subtle truth most people never realize. The pedestal isn't just an external illusion. It's a mental trap. It keeps you waiting for permission, from circumstance, from opportunity, from others, while your life ticks by quietly, one decision at a time. Now here's what you can do, starting today. You don't have to leap to the peak. You don't need a dramatic breakthrough. Instead, begin observing the small choices you make each day. Ask yourself, where am I waiting for life to happen to me? Which decisions am I postponing because they feel too small, too trivial, or too uncomfortable? When you notice it, pause, reflect, and then act. Not perfectly, not boldly, just intentionally. Every time you make a small, conscious choice aligned with the person you want to become, you chip away at the pedestal. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One waits for the perfect moment, crafting the perfect message, rehearsing endlessly. The other sends a thoughtful, imperfect email today. Who moves forward? Who climbs while the other waits? Every microaction is a vote for your identity. Every repeated choice quietly rewires your brain, creating momentum that no external event can generate. You don't have to chase the peak. You simply need to climb, one intentional step at a time, noticing each movement. Here's another point worth repeating. The pedestal effect is not a judgment against you. It's a natural mechanism in the brain designed to protect identity. Awareness is your superpower. The moment you notice the pedestal, you regain control. Every small, deliberate action is proof to your mind that transformation is possible, that the peak is not distant, and that your identity can expand. So now you understand the pedestal effect, why outcomes are idolized, why small choices are ignored, and how awareness plus tiny, consistent actions begin to dismantle it. You've learned how to reclaim your power from waiting, hesitation, and external comparison. But here's the next truth, and it's one you've felt in your life many times. The harder you want something, the more it can seem to slip away. Desire itself can create resistance. And that is the paradox we explore next. Chapter 2. Why wanting it pushes it away. You've felt it before. That burning desire for something you truly want. Maybe it's a career breakthrough, a meaningful relationship, financial freedom, or a personal transformation. You want it so badly that it consumes your thoughts. And yet, the closer you try to get, the more elusive it becomes. Recognition moment. Haven't you noticed this pattern in your own life? That the harder you chase something, the more it seems just out of reach. Think about it. Yesterday you tried, last week you tried, last year you tried, and still somehow it didn't materialize. Desire feels like motivation, but in truth, it can create a strange tension inside. A quiet resistance you didn't even realize was there. It's subtle. Sometimes it shows as procrastination, sometimes as self-doubt, sometimes as mental fatigue, but it's always the same pattern. Wanting pushes away what you seek. Here's the secret most people never notice. The mind interprets strong desire as a threat to your current identity. Every time you intensely want something, your brain whispers, if you change too much, you may no longer be who you are. That's why the more you push for a goal, the more internal resistance rises. Desire isn't inherently bad, it's natural, but unchecked desire triggers a subconscious pushback. The real shock. The people who seem to attract what they want effortlessly, high achievers, visionaries, creators, they don't want it in desperation. Their desire doesn't fight them. Why? Because their identity is already aligned with the outcome. Their mind doesn't resist. The tension isn't there. Recognition moment. Suddenly, this explains why some people move forward effortlessly while others get stuck in endless cycles of wanting and hesitation. And here's another layer. Resistance shows up even before action begins. You may feel uneasy, procrastinate, or start finding excuses. It's not a lack of willpower, it's biology, designed to protect the self you've always known. This is the paradox of desire. Wanting something deeply can create the very blocks you wish weren't there. So what can you do? First, separate desire from identity. Stop saying, I must have this to feel complete. Instead, start thinking, I am already the kind of person who naturally creates this. Act as if the life you want is already part of you. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Now, microaction example. If you desire wealth, act as the person who manages money wisely today. If you desire love, act as the person worthy of love, showing up authentically in small ways. These small aligned actions signal to your brain that change is safe, that expansion is natural. And as your identity begins to align, the tension fades. Reflection cue. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, Where have I been letting desire push me into resistance? Which small, aligned action can I take today? Notice this: alignment beats chasing. Identity beats intensity. Action beats obsession. Every small step you take reinforces a version of yourself that the mind can trust, and trust dissolves resistance naturally. Remember this core truth: wanting alone does not create. Alignment creates. Desire without identity, alignment triggers resistance. Alignment with identity triggers flow. Recognition. You've experienced it before in small ways, times you acted naturally, effortlessly, and progress happened without struggle. That's no coincidence. It's the law your mind has been following all along. And now comes the question that keeps most people stuck. If alignment is the secret, how do you achieve it consistently? How do you prevent desire from sabotaging itself every time you reach for more? You've discovered the paradox of desire. Wanting something intensely can create resistance if your identity isn't ready. You've learned the difference between chasing and aligning. You've started seeing that small, identity-aligned actions dissolve tension naturally. But there's another force silently guiding, or blocking, your every move, your body, your nervous system. It reacts before your mind even makes a conscious choice. Tension, hesitation, and hesitation aren't just mental, they are physical. The nervous system can contract or expand, and this alone shapes how you respond to opportunities. So, now that you've seen the hidden mechanics of desire and resistance, let's uncover the next layer: how your body's automatic responses influence every decision you make. Chapter 3: Contracted versus open nervous system. You mastered desire. Now, let's see how your body can support or sabotage your aligned action. Chapter 3: Contracted versus open nervous system. You know this feeling, that tightness in your chest, the tension in your shoulders, the hesitation in your voice. Maybe it's before an important meeting, a conversation that matters, or taking a bold step toward a goal. Recognition moment. Your body has frozen before your mind even decided what to do. It feels automatic, like your nervous system is taking control. You're ready to act, but something holds you back. That sudden freeze, that tightening, that small voice saying not yet. It's familiar, isn't it? And often after the tension comes procrastination, avoidance, or overthinking. You've experienced this more times than you realize. Think about the last time you felt it. The hesitation before a crucial email, a phone call, or a presentation. The body tenses. The mind hesitates. Action slows. You may blame circumstances, lack of motivation, or timing, but the real culprit is your nervous system. Here's the hidden mechanism. Your nervous system reacts to perceived risk, not actual risk. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a self-imposed challenge. It only knows one thing: danger. Tension, contraction, hesitation. These are all signals your nervous system sends to keep you small, predictable, safe. It's a survival mechanism. Recognition moment. Your body isn't against you. It's protecting you from change, from the unfamiliar, from stepping into an identity that doesn't yet feel natural. The shocking part: most people try to push through with sheer willpower. They force action while their nervous system is still contracted. The result: stress, burnout, procrastination, or subtle self-sabotage. This is why so many fail, not because of lack of desire, but because their body isn't aligned with their intent. So, how do you change it? How do you train your body to support your aligned actions rather than resist them? Start small. Step 1: breathing. Take a slow, conscious breath. Fill your lungs completely. Exhale fully. Feel the expansion in your chest and belly. This signals to your nervous system it's safe to open. Step 2: movement. Even micro movements, rolling your shoulders, stretching, standing up, tell your body that action is safe, natural, and aligned. Step 3: micro actions under pressure. In moments of hesitation, Commit to a single small action. Send the email, make the call, write the paragraph, walk through the doorway. Notice your nervous system responding. Every microaction expands your system slightly. Reflection cue. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, where in my life am I contracting when I could expand? Where am I holding back because my body feels unsafe? Every conscious choice to expand, every small action, rewires your system. Over time, contraction becomes optional, openness becomes default, and hesitation becomes a signal, not a barrier. Remember this, your mind can plan all it wants, but your body dictates execution. Desire without alignment of the nervous system will always meet resistance. Expansion allows the mind to act freely, confidently, and creatively. Recognition. You've felt this before, perhaps even in moments you call luck or timing. That smooth flow you experienced was your nervous system open and expansive. You can create that state deliberately, not by chance. And the more often you practice, the more natural it becomes. Curiosity moment. What happens when your nervous system is fully aligned with your desire and your identity? What doors open that you never imagined? That's the next layer of mastery, and it begins with awareness. You've now discovered a fundamental truth. Hesitation, procrastination, and stress are not personal failings. They are physical responses. Your nervous system contracts to protect your identity, to keep you small, to preserve the familiar. And yet, every micro-choice to expand changes that system, rewiring it to support growth, courage, and aligned action. So, you've trained your awareness of desire in Chapter 2. You've learned how contraction can hold you back in Chapter 3. Now, the next step is understanding how the patterns you repeat, the scripts you follow unconsciously, shape the outcomes of your life. You've expanded your nervous system. Now let's expand your mind. Chapter 4. Everyone is just human. You mastered contraction and expansion. Next, you'll see the universal truth behind human behavior and how it mirrors your own path to mastery. Chapter 4. Everyone is just human. Look around. Think of the people you compare yourself to, colleagues, friends, social media profiles, influencers, or even strangers. Recognition moment. Haven't you felt that pang of inadequacy? That silent thought. They seem so capable. They've got it all together. I'll never be like that. It shows up subtly. In meetings, you hesitate to speak. On social media, you scroll and scroll, feeling a mix of envy and self-doubt. In conversations, you downplay your accomplishments while silently inflating theirs. Recognition. You've done this countless times. It's automatic, and it feeds fear, hesitation, and insecurity, keeping you small, quiet, and safe. Here's the truth that most people never realize. Humans naturally overestimate others' competence while underestimating their own. The brain is wired to notice what's missing in ourselves and what stands out in others. It's a survival pattern meant to guide learning, but it often misfires in modern life. Recognition moment. The colleague who seems confident? Behind closed doors, they hesitate, they doubt, they question themselves just like you do. The person with the perfect social media feed? Their life is curated, showing only what they want you to see. The truth, everyone is just human. Everyone experiences fear, doubt, hesitation, and imperfection. Reframing shock moment. The reason you feel small is not because others are extraordinary. It's because your mind exaggerates their competence and minimizes your own. This illusion keeps you frozen, comparing endlessly, and waiting for permission to act. Understanding this is like removing a veil from your eyes. Suddenly, the world is less intimidating, and the path forward becomes clear. So, how do you break this pattern? Start noticing the humanity in others. Watch carefully. Hesitation in conversations, small mistakes, micro-pauses before they speak. Recognition. Every person, even those you admire, hesitates, falters, and doubts. Practice this in real time. When you start comparing yourself to someone, pause and reflect. They are human, just like me. Visualize them making mistakes, facing fear, starting over. Notice the imperfection. Notice the doubt. Notice the hesitation. This simple recognition reduces fear and strengthens self-trust. Next, apply it to yourself. When you make a mistake, hesitate, or feel insecure, remember, everyone is just human. No one is magically immune from doubt, failure, or resistance. Your value is not defined by how you compare to others. It's defined by how you act, grow, and show up. Reflection cue. Pause and ask, where have I been freezing because I thought others had it all together? Where can I take action now, knowing they are human too? Remember this, comparison is a trap. Recognition of humanity is freedom. You don't need to wait to be perfect, better, or more impressive. Progress is built on action, consistency, and alignment with your identity, not comparison. Curiosity gap. If everyone is just human, what happens when you stop comparing yourself? How much energy could you reclaim? How many decisions could you make freely without fear, hesitation, or overthinking? That's the next step. Applying this understanding to patterns you repeat unconsciously and seeing yourself clearly in the process. You've uncovered a powerful truth. Everyone is just human. Fear and hesitation often stem not from reality, but from distorted perceptions of others. You've learned that comparison inflates others' competence and deflates your own. You've started noticing the humanity in everyone, including yourself. But understanding humanity is only the beginning. The next step is to see how the unconscious patterns you repeat, day after day, thought after thought, habit after habit, shape the outcomes of your life. These patterns are not who you are, but they influence everything you do. You've seen the mirror in others. Now, let's examine the mirror in yourself. Chapter 5. Patterns are not who you are. You mastered comparison. Next, you'll master recognizing and rewriting the patterns that silently guide your life. Chapter 5. Patterns are not who you are. Take a moment and think about your life. Notice the patterns that keep repeating. Maybe it's procrastination on tasks that matter, repeatedly getting into the same type of conflict, or making choices you promised yourself you wouldn't make. Recognition moment. How often have you said to yourself, I'll always do this, or I just can't stop messing this up? These patterns feel permanent. They feel like destiny. They feel like you, like an unchangeable part of who you are. But here's the thing, patterns are not you. They're behaviors. They're automatic loops your brain has learned over time to keep your identity stable, even when it no longer serves you. Here's what most people don't see. Your brain equates repeated patterns with identity. Every time you procrastinate, hesitate, or self-sabotage, your nervous system whispers, "This is who you are. This is safe." Breaking that pattern triggers subtle alarm signals, stress, hesitation, doubt, because your mind interprets change as a threat. Reframing shock moment. The reason you keep repeating the same mistakes isn't because you lack willpower. It's because your brain is defending your current identity. It's literally protecting what it believes is you. This is why awareness matters more than motivation. Recognition moment. Suddenly, what you thought was a flaw becomes a mechanism you can observe, understand, and gradually rewrite. So how do you change it? Start by separating your behavior from your identity. Each time a familiar pattern arises, pause and notice. I made this choice, but it doesn't define me. Repeat that silently, internally, or even out loud. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. Next, experiment with micro-decisions that break the loop. If you procrastinate, start the task for just 2 minutes. If you react emotionally, pause and breathe before responding. These small, deliberate acts show your brain that identity is flexible, that patterns are not permanent. Reflection cue. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself, Which part of my behavior have I been mistaking for my identity? What is the smallest action I can take now that signals a new possibility? Each time you recognize a pattern without attaching your identity to it, the loop weakens and choice expands. Remember this core truth: your patterns are not who you are. They are learned responses, created to protect your identity, to keep you familiar, to maintain safety. Recognition: you felt trapped by them, but now you're beginning to see them clearly. You have the power to step outside the loop. Curiosity moment: what happens when your patterns no longer define you? How much energy, clarity, and freedom could you reclaim if every choice became an opportunity instead of a repetition of the past? That's the next layer, moving from awareness to deep insight about human behavior, understanding why your mind resists change, and why your brain sometimes seems to fight your best intentions. You've now uncovered a crucial truth: patterns are not your identity. Repetition may feel like destiny, but it's simply behavior you can observe, understand, and rewrite. You've practiced separating yourself from your habits, breaking the loops that have kept you stuck. Awareness is the key. It is the first step toward true freedom. But awareness alone is not enough. To truly master your life, you must dive deeper and explore the hidden, counterintuitive rules that govern human behavior. Why do our brains resist success? Why does confidence often appear only after action? Why do goals sometimes fail, even when we are fully committed? You've started seeing the patterns. Now, let's uncover the secrets behind them. Chapter 6: The Resistance Loop. You've felt it before. That invisible force pulling you back, even when you know exactly what you want. Recognition moment. Maybe it's the hesitation before starting a new project, the nagging thought that tells you to wait, the subtle urge to distract yourself when you should focus. It shows up in every area of life. Motivation is high. Desire is clear. Yet somehow your body and mind stall. Recognition. This invisible barrier is resistance, and it's deceptively powerful. It feels like laziness. It feels like procrastination. But it's more than that. It's a system designed to keep you safe, comfortable, predictable. Here's the secret most people never notice. Resistance isn't a sign of laziness. It isn't a failure of character. Recognition moment. It's your mind defending your current identity. Every time you try to step into something new, the brain whispers, "This is unfamiliar. This is dangerous. You are safe staying the same." Reframing shock moment. Resistance is the mind's way of protecting you from identity change. When you try to take action that doesn't yet feel you, your brain interprets it as a threat. That nagging, delaying, uncomfortable sensation? It's your mind saying, "Hold on. Are you sure this new identity is safe?" Curiosity gap. What happens if you meet resistance not with fear, but with observation? What happens when you see it for what it is, name it, and move anyway? The first step: pause. Take a deep breath. Notice the resistance. Recognition moment. Ah, here it is. My brain is resisting change. Naming it is powerful. Observation is not surrender, it's awareness. Next, act anyway. Take the smallest step you can toward your goal, even while resistance rumbles beneath the surface. Make the call, write the paragraph, schedule the meeting, speak your truth. Each deliberate action tells the brain a new story. Identity can expand safely. Reflection cue: pause. Ask yourself, where in my life am I waiting for resistance to pass instead of moving through it? Every moment you observe resistance without judgment and act anyway, you weaken the loop. You train your nervous system and mind to accept growth as safe, natural, and inevitable. Remember this core principle. Resistance is invisible, but it is real, and its power comes from being unobserved. Once you shine awareness on it, its hold diminishes. Recognition. Your brain will always defend the old identity if you allow it to operate unconsciously. Action observed, deliberate, small, is the antidote. Curiosity moment. Imagine a life where resistance no longer controls your choices, where hesitation no longer dictates your results. What could you accomplish if your mind and body were aligned, willing to act even when fear or uncertainty arises? That's the next layer. The moment you move from acting despite resistance to leveraging it as fuel for transformation. You've now learned a crucial truth. Resistance is not failure. It's the mind defending your identity, keeping you small. Awareness weakens it. Action neutralizes it. You've practiced pausing, naming, and moving anyway. That simple yet powerful loop is the gateway to personal transformation. But growth isn't just about resisting resistance. It's about creating the conditions where your mind naturally aligns with possibility, confidence, and expansive action. The next chapter will reveal how confidence emerges, not before but after you act, and how understanding this paradox changes everything about how you approach your goals. You've faced the resistance loop. Now, let's explore the counterintuitive truths that shape human success. Chapter 7. The Subtle Power of Micro-Decisions. Take a moment and think about your biggest goals. Recognition moment. They feel massive, don't they? Starting a new business, mastering a skill, transforming your health, or shifting your mindset. It all feels far away, like a mountain too steep to climb. And then there's the subtle trap. The small actions feel meaningless. If I just write one page today, if I just take a 5-minute walk, if I just make one call, does it even matter? Recognition moment. You've felt this before. You discount the tiny choices because they don't create instant, dramatic change. But here's the truth. This is where the magic is hiding. Here's the part most people miss. Identity shifts don't happen in giant leaps. They happen in micro-decisions repeated consistently over time. Every small choice sends a signal to your brain. This is who I am. This is what I do. Reframing shock moment. Skipping the small choice doesn't just delay results. It reinforces the identity you already have. That one page you didn't write today, the conversation you avoided, the task you procrastinated on, they all signal to your mind. Stay the same. Don't change. Recognition. The life you dream of is quietly built, invisible action by invisible action. Curiosity gap. What happens if you start noticing the small choices that actually matter? How many micro-decisions could you take today that would, over time, compound into entirely new outcomes, new identity, new life? Here's the actionable shift. Choose one small decision today that aligns with the identity you desire. Maybe it's writing one paragraph, making one call, meditating for 2 minutes, or walking for 10. Recognition moment. One micro-decision seems tiny, but repeated consistently, it compounds invisibly. Next, repeat it consciously. Don't let it happen automatically. Pause and observe the choice. I am doing this because it reflects the person I am becoming. Each repetition rewires your nervous system, reshapes your habits, and signals to your mind. This is who I am now. Recognition. Identity is the sum of repeated micro-decisions, not grand gestures. Reflection cue. Pause. Ask yourself, what one small choice today could move me closer to my desired identity? Commit to it. Repeat it. Observe it. This is the rhythm of invisible momentum, the subtle, unstoppable force that builds transformation without forcing you to take impossible leaps. Remember this core truth. Big transformations are built from small actions. Every micro-decision is a vote for the person you are becoming. Recognition. The life you want isn't a distant dream. It's quietly being built today, one deliberate choice at a time. Curiosity gap. Imagine a life where you consistently take these small actions. The momentum compounds invisibly. Recognition moment. Your brain, nervous system, and habits begin to align with your future self. Every choice signals identity, every repetition strengthens it, and before you know it, the change you thought would take years happens naturally, almost effortlessly. You've now seen the subtle yet profound truth. Transformation doesn't require heroic leaps. It requires deliberate micro-decisions. Awareness, consistency, and repetition quietly reshape your identity, align your nervous system, and compound into momentum you can feel. But small decisions alone aren't enough. To truly transform, you must pair them with a deep sense of purpose, clarity, and urgency. You must confront your old identity and decide whether it still deserves control over your future. The next chapter will shift from small steps to full personal transformation, showing how clarity, reflection, and applied action combine to make change inevitable. You've unlocked the invisible momentum of micro-decisions. Now, let's step into transformation. Chapter 8. Your mind is secretly following you. Think about your life for a moment. Recognition moment. Despite your best efforts, patterns keep repeating. Perhaps you've tried to eat healthier, yet find yourself reaching for the same snacks. Maybe you've attempted to improve communication in relationships, yet old arguments resurface. Or perhaps you've started a project at work, only to procrastinate despite motivation and intention. Recognition. This isn't coincidence. Your mind is subtly following you. Your subconscious patterns are running in the background, enforcing habits you barely notice. They show up in ways that feel automatic, and yet, each time they repeat, they seem to confirm a truth about you. The pattern whispers, "This is who you are. This is what you do." Pause for reflection. Which patterns in your life feel like they are following you, even when you want to change? Here's the truth most people never notice. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. Hidden mechanism. It enforces habits to maintain your current identity. Every action, every thought, every hesitation is designed to keep you stable, familiar, predictable. When you try to change, your subconscious resists, not out of malice, but because it believes it's protecting you. Reframing shock moment. The reason you keep self-sabotaging, repeating mistakes, or failing to follow through is not weakness. Recognition. It's your subconscious mind doing exactly what it was designed to do, protecting the identity you've been living with. Curiosity gap. What if you could communicate with your subconscious instead of fighting it? What if you could enlist it to support the person you want to become? This is where the transformation begins. Start communicating with your subconscious. Begin by repeating phrases that signal the identity you want. For example, instead of saying, "I keep failing at consistency," shift to, "I am the type of person who follows through every day." Recognition. Words carry energy, and your subconscious begins to absorb and align with repeated language. Next, visualize your identity. See yourself acting, deciding, responding as your future self. Feel it as though it is already happening. Recognition. The mind cannot distinguish between vivid imagination and reality. By consistently visualizing, you are signaling the subconscious to align with this new identity. Finally, take action that matches your future self. Micro-decisions, deliberate choices, and intentional acts reinforce the subconscious alignment. Reflection cue, pause. Ask yourself, what one action today can I take that my future self would take effortlessly? Recognition. Each aligned action reinforces identity, weakens old patterns, and accelerates transformation. Remember this principle. Your mind is secretly following you. Patterns repeat because your subconscious is loyal to your current identity. Recognition. By consciously communicating with it, visualizing your future self, and acting in alignment, you can redirect its loyalty. You are not battling your mind. You are guiding it gently, deliberately, consistently. Curiosity moment. Imagine a life where every thought, decision, and habit is aligned with the identity you choose. Recognition. The invisible follower in your mind becomes your most powerful ally. Each repeated phrase, each visualization, each aligned action compounds into momentum, creating a life that previously seemed impossible. You've now uncovered a critical truth. Your mind is secretly following you. Awareness alone isn't enough. You've learned to communicate, visualize, and act in alignment with your future self. Recognition. The subconscious that once resisted change now becomes a partner in transformation. But personal transformation isn't complete until this alignment translates into bold, deliberate action in the real world. The next chapter will guide you into the final stage of transformation, combining clarity, identity, and action to take control of your life. You've guided your subconscious. Now, let's step into full application. Chapter 9: The Identity Upgrade Loop. Take a moment and consider how you approach change. Recognition moment. Most people focus on surface-level goals, losing weight, earning more money, getting a promotion, but these are just outcomes. Real transformation doesn't happen here. You've probably tried achieving goals in the past, only to notice that the same habits, same fears, and same self-talk keep showing up, silently sabotaging your progress. Recognition. The missing piece isn't effort, it's identity. The world doesn't change because you want it to. It changes because you have upgraded the version of yourself that interacts with it. Every decision, every choice, every action flows from who you believe you are. Here's the subtle but powerful truth. Your current self-concept acts like an operating system. Hidden mechanism. Every thought, every belief, every action is a reflection of that identity. When you try to act beyond it without upgrading it first, the mind, body, and environment conspire to pull you back. Recognition. Your current identity is literally running the show. Reframing shock moment. This is why willpower alone rarely works. Your brain and habits are loyal to the identity you've been living with. Curiosity gap. Imagine if you could upgrade that operating system. What would happen if every decision, every action, every thought was aligned with the person you truly want to be? Recognition. The outcomes would follow naturally. They couldn't help but follow because your internal blueprint would have changed. So how do you do this? Step 1. Act as if you are already the person you want to become. Recognition moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for circumstances to align. Take one action today that signals your upgraded identity. Speak, move, think, and decide as that future self would. Step 2. Reinforce through reflection. Pause throughout your day and ask, is this who I am becoming? Recognition. Awareness strengthens identity. Noticing your alignment accelerates transformation. Step 3. Repeat microactions consistently. These small choices, aligned emails, deliberate conversations, micro-decisions about health, focus, or learning, compound invisibly. Recognition. Identity is built through repetition, not occasional heroic effort. Reflection moment. Imagine a life where your identity and actions are in perfect harmony. Every choice, every thought, every decision is a reinforcement loop, creating unstoppable momentum. Remember, you are the sum of your repeated micro-decisions. Recognition. Every choice sends a signal to your subconscious. This is who I am. The more consistently you act in alignment with your upgraded identity, the more automatic, effortless, and natural it becomes. Recognition. Your world changes not because you push harder, but because you have become a new version of yourself. Curiosity gap. What happens when every action, thought, and decision reinforces the future self you are designing? Recognition. The energy, momentum, and clarity that comes from living aligned with upgraded identity will accelerate every area of life: relationships, work, creativity, health, and abundance. Your mind, your body, your environment, all will respond to the version of you that you consistently signal. You've now unlocked one of the most powerful forces of transformation, the identity upgrade loop. Awareness, reflection, and aligned action have allowed you to upgrade the version of yourself that your mind, habits, and environment naturally follow. Recognition. Transformation isn't about forcing change. It's about becoming the version of yourself that naturally produces the life you desire. But transformation is not complete without a long-term vision. It's one thing to change your identity in the moment. It's another to design a life intentionally, with purpose, clarity, and expansion. The final chapter will guide you into seeing your life from the highest perspective, integrating all lessons, and moving forward with a sense of calm, power, and unstoppable momentum. You've upgraded your identity. Now let's expand it. Chapter 10, the final expansion. You've mastered who you are becoming. Next, you'll master the life you are creating. Chapter 10, designing a life you cannot ignore. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how often do you drift through life waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for someone else to give you permission to take the next step? Recognition moment. Most people live like passengers, believing that external circumstances, luck, opportunity, or timing will finally align and give them the life they want. But pause and reflect. If you keep waiting, how many moments have already passed? Recognition. A life left to drift is a life of quiet frustration, subtle regret, and invisible compromise. You've likely noticed it in yourself. The habits you don't follow, the conversations you avoid, the risks you quietly ignore. Mental mirror moment. These aren't failures. They are signals showing where intentional living is missing. Here's the truth most people miss. External circumstances rarely dictate success. Hidden mechanism. It's your internal framework, your mindset, your identity, your daily structure. That determines whether you thrive or merely survive. Recognition. The same opportunities exist for everyone, but only those who have intentionally designed their mindset and habits take full advantage. Reframing shock moment. Life isn't about waiting for permission. Life is about creating conditions so compelling, so aligned with your identity, that it cannot be ignored. Curiosity gap. Imagine building a life where your priorities, rituals, and actions naturally push you forward. Recognition. When your internal framework leads, external circumstances bend to follow. So how do you design a life you cannot ignore? Step 1. Define your priorities clearly. Recognition moment. Don't settle for vague goals like be happier or make more money. Choose specific actions, routines, and intentions that align with the version of yourself you've been upgrading through chapters 8 and 9. Step 2. Build daily rituals that reinforce identity and momentum. Recognition. Small, repeated practices. Waking early, focused work sessions, mindful reflection, deliberate learning, compound invisibly. The micro-decisions you make each day are the true architecture of your life. Step 3. Embrace intentional action with courage. Recognition. Life designed intentionally requires saying no to distractions, to convenience, to habits that no longer serve. Each aligned action is a vote for your upgraded self and a message to the subconscious. This is the life I choose. Step 4. Pause and reflect daily. Recognition. Reflection ensures alignment. Ask, am I acting in a way that my future self would respect and admire? Each reflection reinforces identity and sharpens the life you are building. Momentum compounds. Clarity emerges. Transformation becomes visible. Remember, you have spent the last several hours upgrading your mind, identifying patterns, communicating with your subconscious, and practicing aligned micro-decisions. Recognition. All of that work converges here. The life you build is no longer passive. It is active, deliberate, and irresistible. Curiosity gap. Imagine a life where every choice, every ritual, every reflection is aligned with your upgraded identity. Recognition. This life cannot be ignored. Opportunities appear not because you chase them. They appear because your mindset, habits, and energy signal readiness. Your subconscious now follows you not blindly, but with precision, reinforcing the identity and life you've designed. You've reached the final expansion. You've mastered awareness, upgraded your identity, communicated with your subconscious, and aligned your actions with the life you desire. Recognition. The difference between those who drift and those who design is not opportunity, it's intentional alignment of mind, identity, and action. Now is the moment to integrate everything you've learned into daily life. The lessons are no longer theoretical. They are instructions for living fully, deliberately, and powerfully. You've seen the patterns, understood the mechanics, upgraded your identity, and aligned your choices. Next, we will close by tying every insight together, creating a clear, direct challenge that ensures you take this knowledge and manifest the life you cannot ignore. In closing, now take a moment and feel it, the clarity, the possibility, the truth. Every pattern you recognized, every micro-decision you considered, every identity upgrade we explored, it's not theory. It's your life waiting to be claimed. You no longer have to wait for circumstances, permission, or motivation. You already carry the power to shape your reality. Every thought, every action, every belief is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of your life. So here is the challenge. Start now. Choose one action today that aligns with the person you want to become. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. And commit to noticing the invisible patterns, rewiring your mind, and stepping fully into the identity that was waiting for you all along. The life you imagined is not outside, it's within. Claim it,